super slow defaults to start it as they poke for map control.
Yeah, it looks like Liquid's comp as well has almost just turned this into, we're going to try and completely just boom our opponents off of individual skill. Like, we've seen them go for these like very tactical, deep compositions in the past, and now they've gone, yeah, you know what, Scream on Jet, Soulcast Raze, let's just win this on Jules.
Exactly, and Solkas could be instrumental in some of the slower rounds. That delay that you can have on that B side, it'll really limit Gambit in terms of what they can go for. Now, we've seen them at the start of this round, one player B and A, and the rest going for mid control, and it looks like everything's about to come to a head down here in Vents, where Team Liquid were waiting for that drop play. We've seen it from Gambit before, and clearly Liquid have too.
50 seconds left on the clock. But this is looking rough now for Gambit. Couple of players down. They've not been able to take the control that they wanted, and the remaining players looking to try and split in onto this B site. Now, Redgar's got a lot of positioning. For somehow, they don't actually know that he's here, but he doesn't manage to connect the shots. Luckily, Chronicle is alongside him to find an extra kill, but this still puts them in an awkward spot. They need to get rid of Soulcast to even have a chance.
30 seconds left. Satchel out.
There's the blast pack out to try and do some damage. He knows there's players coming on both sides, and nothing he could really do about it. Redgar left on that 6 HP, eventually dealt with, but the trade is quick for Chronicle, who gets another and almost in for all four. That would have been a spectacular round for him here in the pistol, but Gambit do end up falling. And really, you have to look at that Vents play from Liquid and how it started. They give up the mid control, they don't take a fight that they don't feel like, and they wait in Vents with two players, reading perfectly what Gambit were looking to do.
I think we've seen a few teams do that. I think it was even Giants at one point threw that in as a read versus Guild, where they were just like, okay, they keep trying to take this map control for free, so we're just going to like throw in a couple of double stacks every once in a while just to try and outbrain them. So yeah, I like it. In a pistol round, especially having a read like that is absolutely huge, because these are the rounds that pretty much any team, we put it down to a 50-50. Like, it really can go either way.
This push that Team Liquid are looking for. Now, these guys obviously have a lot of Spectres to play with here. The weaponry advantage is there. They're aiming very early on to get that Blade Storm online. Scream picking up the orb, but he does get damaged significantly, not able to continue the fight. Push forward to take those duels for more orbs. And a little crossfire in play for Link and Yampy here. Even if you saw a Gambit break through and run in, it's unlikely they managed to deal with them, but the real threat comes from the Heaven split that they're contemplating as they start to move back, though. They're leaving Vents. Nat's watching for the push. Oh, that timing is so terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to matter at all, though, because they're currently walking into the double stack of Scream and Soulcast with utility being pushed into their favor. Sure, maybe it will catch one of the final kills, but I'm almost certain the round will be done by the time that Yumpy actually comes around the corner, and all it really means is it should be at least that little bit cleaner. Now, Chronicle, he gets one kill here. That's absolutely fine. I would even call that a decent round, and there you go. 2 kills in a round where they were flanked and they walked into the double stack of duelists. I'm taking that if I'm Gambit.
Generically, yes, but Scream took those fights as aggressively as he did on low HP to get the Blade Storm online, and now he has it. So that's a huge upgrade for very little reinvestment. He has to buy shields and then that Blade Storm, and that's pretty much it. So really, it's only the one guy having to rebuy, and if there's even a pistol floating around, they'll just pass that. So the economy isn't actually going to be dented too much, and I think Liquid still come in with a very strong hardware. Sorry, lost myself in that replay for a moment. So I saw Scream, like, the spray that he had was so unlucky, because he probably could have gotten both kills and remained with the weapon, just that all the bullets went like through their legs.
Well, this is a important round for Gambit. Financially, they have a huge advantage, but it's this Blade Storm that worries me a little bit. The one thing the Scream could just pull out ridiculous kills on, and well, Nats is already gone. One of the players we normally watch, especially when it comes to the defensive side, but gonna have some problems here. Now, they've just gone in there to almost just destroy the trip. That's something that a lot of teams will do generically, just so that information's not going to be garnered later in the round and potentially play a part in their demise. The issue, though, they still need to try and find a way back in here, and it seems like Heaven's one of the spots, at least for now, that has been left a little bit open a couple of times. I assume that that's being watched by the cam, but if it's not, then that's a lot of space that they can take for free.
Nice little watch by Yampy. The pistol that was in play manages to get a reward. 5 versus 3 at this stage. You know, GAMBIT have those rifles that we talk about, and they pretty much have to go B, right? Their spike sat outside of it, and the rotate would take too long. As they drop onto the site, Solkas catches them, one away from getting another nade online, and a challenge from Shados. He's gonna have 2 players actually facing into him, but they managed to overrun the site with Scream and Solkas down. Cryptix is the only man left to defend as Link rotates to help. And nicely done by Liquid. 3-0 on the board, and they had Spectres up against a full buy, and they made it look very easy.
Yeah, I'd say surprisingly easy, especially when you think about the utility that's actually available for Liquid to delay. It's not in comparison, say, for example, if you look at the other side, where you've got your Astras, you've got your Vipers, you've got your Skies even being able to slow people down. The majority of that was just a little bit of aggression, and then GAMBIT taking the round so slowly that they had to take a more gambly push towards the end. So Liquid do an incredible job. Huge boost to finances, and now we're going to see a bit of an investment here.
Whoopsie days. He's screaming an opportunity there. Defo looking to survive on 26 HP. The slow's going to go down. That stops the push that GAMBIT were looking for, and they've given up all map control. Team Liquid quickly seized it by sending Yampy down middle, and, well, GAMBIT are boxed in, but they're still going to hope that a mistake is made, that somebody on the Team Liquid side pushes forward and gives an opportunity for a free kill. Scream very nearly did, getting tagged up, and looks like he's really hungry for these kills.
He doesn't have the dash either, so it's not even like he can just quickly get out of there unless he's going to pop 2 heads before he does it, which it is Scream, but I would say that it's a little bit unlikely. Are they actually going to check the corner? They're not. They actually just expect him to have fully retreated, and if he gets that kill, he actually does dash out of there, but Redgar is quick enough on the trade, and honestly, for GAMBIT, that's okay.
Considering the weapons in it, yeah, that's great. When Team Liquid decide to take a disadvantageous duel versus weaker weaponry, and especially then obviously facing into the 3. Now on range, though, it's not quite the case yet. Redgar still able to get the spray in onto Solkas. This is getting a little bit scary for Team Liquid after such a good bonus round in the previous. They really need to be walking away with this. Pressure on Link, his teammates nowhere nearby, and he is cleaning up house. Nat's the last alive on 45 HP. Solo man going in for the plant, but he's being rushed down on Heard the Steps. Oh, he's being played on the clock, but he isolated Cryptix. He's free to plant, he knows it, and Yampy, although he's closing in the distance slowly, won't catch Nats until it's a little too late. He's already made it around and now knows where Yampy is. This is going to be a game of chicken. Which side do the players decide to go on? Yampy trying to catch an angle, and there it is, but Nats gets away with it. All 3 kills, and GAMBIT claimed the round right back with just pistols and Spectres. A devastating blow to Liquid.
See, there was in my head as they were running into the site, I was like, okay, guaranteed Link gets 2. Like that's always the thing. Like I feel like whenever he's on a site and there's not that much time left, he's always going to get 2 kills every single time. And at that point, I'm like, it's over. That's it, done. And I had a lapse of judgment because Nats is just unbelievable in the clutch. The timing of that kill to get just a little bit more aggressive and bait in the plant was so perfect. And sure, you can look at it from the other perspective and say, you know what, if Liquid play that as a team, there is absolutely no way he wins that. But just a fantastic clutch and a round needed, if anything, because they were off to a pretty slow start.
And the couple of risks made by Team Liquid, you really see the punishment there. Interesting that Yampy is playing the operator with an Omen while Scream's on Jet. And we mentioned Scream as a non-opping Jet, but never mind the op, he won't have any weapon now. Taken down right at the start of this round. Now, Rez is online, but a little bit too difficult to get around there just yet. Seekers showing that there's still a 2-man A-hold, and they're running right into Yampy, thinking that it's clear, I guess, or that they'd at least get towards the site before taking contact. The aggressive nature of Yampy once again catching teams off guard.
Yeah, I assume the direction of the Seeker just baited them. Just like, oh, there's no one on B, and just start running into the site. Has definitely gone as badly wrong as it could have done. And actually, Yampy Almost going to try and fake them out with the TP. Still, though, they have got a lot of control around A. In fact, they have all the control around A. It seems like there's a full rotation just playing this as a retake. As you mentioned, it's a little bit difficult to get the res. Well, they're going to commit everything to bring Scream back online.
It's worthwhile to have that man advantage on the retake, and here's hoping over on the Liquid side that Gambit decide to get a bit too aggressive. You can already see that Chronicle has gone deep into screens, and I think he popped his ultimate there, right? And now he's just taken down right away. And I presume that was even through it. Good job by Defo. I don't know how he gets two, leaving Nats in a winnable position. The 3K in the previous round, now they call on him once again. Time on their side. And in fact, it's the same players of Cryptix and Yampy to try and clutch this one out. They're moving towards the site. The steps are heard. Nats starting to creep behind them. It looks like they're blissfully unaware of his position, and Nats has spotted them. This could be huge. Only a pistol on Yampy to defend the defuse, and he's inside the cage for another clutch. Back-to-back rounds for Nats as Gambit climb up to 2.
He doesn't even break a sweat. This is what just infuriates me. He's just a stone cold killer. Like, look his reaction right now. He's like, yeah, like, guys, if you could just like do a little bit more so I don't have to keep clutching out these rounds in just ridiculous fashion. Like, he genuinely is just like, he's got less reactions than the Finns, which is impressive in itself because that's what we always talk about. Like, if anything, Yumpy's the guy that like breaks that rule with just how emotional he seems to be in these moments. But that is now 2 rounds for Gambit and 2 clutches for Nats. I'm hoping for their sake that is going to change some way throughout this map. Otherwise, well, he's going to have to probably have the best statistics we've ever seen in a match.
I think this is where Liquid just need to slow it down a little bit in their own head. In fact, I'm surprised a pause, well, maybe didn't come in here because they have sheriffs. But if they don't call a pause before the next buy round, I will be quite surprised. And the reason is these rounds they've lost have been of their own accord. Okay, Nats has done a spectacular job clutching out on the side, but look at that last round. Yampy has an off, and instead of him being the diffuser, Cryptix goes for it, leaving Yampy to swap to his pistol to try and take that fight. A classic, not exactly going to be ideal. And then the round before, where Scream takes the fight on top ramp, knowing they're against an eco and that he's already used his dash. Sure, he got a kill for it, but dropped afterwards, weapon retrieved, and then they lose the site, which, you know, they really set up the scenario for that clutch to come through. That could have been so huge. Look, it's the worst thing, really, when the first guy doesn't check the corner, but the second guy does. You are raging at that point. A tag from the cam, actually, straight through the smoke, but I can't spam it because, well, the Cosmic Divide up. I'm surprised they even used the camera there. I suppose they want to see it. Make sure it's not a fake.
Cheeky. They're in a cage through. I don't know how much that's really going to help them. There's actually nobody watching the other side of it, though. Scream's able to go through. We've also got the ult, the showstopper finding another pick. This is just pistols in this round, and somehow this is already becoming very costly indeed. Scream has just taken down Nats as well. It leaves just 2 remaining.
Nats not here to save the day this time, but a good play by Shados buys them a chance. One opportunity, there's a pull online. It's going to be a stun instead, actually, as Redgar spots he's not on it. Halfway defused just about, and Scream has the blades out. The shot not connecting down to the Sheriff. Time so low, he has to hit the shot now, and it is too late. Redgar closes this one out, and Gambit push up to 3 rounds. A really good attempt by Liquid, though, all things considered.
Yeah, they use a few ults, which, again, for their ultimate economy is going to be quite bad, but they've done a lot of damage. They've kept Gambit on the edge, and I think it's definitely worth it, and that, especially in the way that that round started as well, it just looks uncomfortable. Like, Gambit, every single round they've won so far has been a clutch. It's been shaky, so I'm not feeling confident for them. I do wonder if it's just those jitters we see, though. Like, they were a team last time in EMEA that we were expecting to qualify. They didn't. Now we're looking at them again, and sure, the only team they've lost to so far is Ascend, who I think everybody is considering the best team in the region right now. That's fine. But they now need to show that, okay, we can actually qualify for one of these events, because otherwise, well, there's this thing called the last chance qualifier, and if they can't qualify for anything else, how are they going to do it in the last chance?
Well, true. Maybe like a third time lucky type thing. You never know. Again, going to go for that vent control this time. A little bit more intention behind it on the Gambit side, moving towards the A site. Ramp is now theirs, and this leaves Link by himself, spotted by the Seekers as well. As he's revealed down below, he opts to hold his position. His teammates rotating to help, but they get isolated first. And now as they come through the smoke, only the one. Cryptic's luckily, I think, spraying his smoke himself, manages to trade, but Defo's up close to punish. And poor old Yampy, operator in hand. And you really could consider a save. But it looks like he's not going to go for that. Instead, retrieving his fallen comrade's Vandal as he moves towards this site. And with the damage done here, Tom, 69 HP on Defo, 85 for Redgar. This is a much more winnable clutch than it looks like. A shame he doesn't have Paranoia still on.
Oh, he's seen the barrel.
He spotted the barrel.
Oh, the next kill's free. If he gets snapped back, he knows exactly where he is, but he's not quite going to get it. The clutches only go Gambit's way. I should have known.
But you know what? At least Redgar can put another earring in now. I know Astra's already got a couple, but I'm pretty sure Yampy just pierced the ear a little bit on that final shot. It was so close. Those are the rounds. 3-4. Gambit are steaming back into the lead, and considering how Liquid started this, they did everything right. They won the pistol, they managed to beat down the second round easily enough, then they win when they only have the weaker weapons themselves. Their own bonus is huge, and yet Gambit find the most unlikely of openings. And you would love to think, oh, it's just a hiccup, right? Oh, they lost that one round versus the pistols, it's whatever. But at this point, we're seeing so many flaws on this defense exploited again and again by Gambit that, okay, the pause has come in, possibly a little bit too late.
I do also want to add in the fact that they have lost 4 1v1s in a row at the end.
True.
I feel like we can't harp too much on Liquid when that is the way that they are losing. Like, sure, all of them were like 1v2, 1v2, 2v1, whatever, but it all ended in a 1v1, and every single one of them has gone Gambit's way. Now, as said, that is not sustainable. It shouldn't be, at least, but somehow they're managing to prove it wrong again.
But I think the thing is that it is like 1v2s. It is 1v3s. Like it's these constant. Exactly. And if these mistakes are mitigated at the start of the round, well, then all of a sudden they are actually just 1 rounds as opposed to winnable. But that's why the pause comes in. Liquid discuss their options. Again, I would have liked to see it before that previous buy round, because I think they were already clearly being their flaws were clearly being exploited, but at least now it's called. It probably doesn't have that much impact in this round. They're playing with Sheriffs, they're playing with a Guardian. The intention is definitely for the next, but that said, they can do a lot of damage with these rifles, or with this rifle, with these pistols. It seems to be a similar enough hold, a little bit more tame towards A, but look at this push from Yampy. Again, great position in the early stages, and oh, that's another earring for Redgar.
I think at this stage, Gambit are starting to predict this, and this is something that's always been the case on their attack. That's why almost this composition seems a little bit peculiar from Liquid, is Gambit love a default, maybe more than any team we currently watch. Like, they absolutely love a default. So to play a composition with double duelist that revolves quite a lot of aggression, well, we've seen teams attempt it before, and it really hasn't worked that well. So we'll see if they can turn things around. As said, a lot of these rounds have been incredibly close, but if you're trying to play against Gambit on clutches as well, that's another thing that they thrive in. Soulcast, gonna be the last man standing. Now, he has picked himself back up the Guardian. I think the plan for Scream was, okay, I can buy a Guardian into this round and potentially get myself closer to the Blade Storm, and then it doesn't really matter so much. That hasn't happened, so bringing this into the next could actually be a valuable upgrade. It just depends how much cash they've actually got left.
Unfortunately, there'll be nothing for Solkis either. As a 5th round's found by Gambit, 4 players alive. Credits starting to really rack up, and their default play, I think, revolves around the fact that they can consistently find themselves in a position that if they spread out, it's not like Shados or Defo or Redgar or Nats or anybody. I should say Chronicle as well. Hey, if we're naming the whole team.
It was his birthday a few days ago. How can you do that to him?
Or Sulcus, or Link, or Cryptic. But it's not like on Gambit you look and you think, oh, this one player, he's the guy that has to entry, right? He's not, it doesn't exist. This team is very well rounded. They're all capable of finding those duels, finding those entries. And the important part about that is that when they spread into this default, everybody is looking for the gap. And everybody has the permission almost to go and exploit it if they think they found it. And we see it constantly here. Going to be Defo a lot of the time, taking the control over mid and over vents. I mean, it is literally his role to do this. But then you'll see it some rounds, like over towards the B side. What we're seeing here, they're thinking that there's a little bit of an opportunity at least to remove Cypher utility and potentially take a duel. And their spidey senses seem to be tingling about that corner, because even though Cypher's on the back side, they're very suspicious as they walked towards the site of Scream up above.
Oh, that links in quite heavily to one of the composition changes we actually saw. You mentioned Defo. We actually saw him play Sky recently. Didn't work great, so they've actually tried to utilize him a little bit more to set things up. Redgar's going to go walking in, almost trying to maybe sell a bit of a bait by the looks of things, as the rest of the team now attempt to try and push into A, but the whole of Liquid is rotating. They need to move fast.
God, they are certainly on the way. The steps being heard by Shados. Looks like he's ready to cut off another rotation, but they're not able to find anyone. Team Liquid wisely stalling on this and not taking fights. Evidently, having learned from the previous engagements that going out, fragging, and playing your own game, as they so eloquently put it, is not always the best way to go. And with this tighter late round gameplay, they have managed to get themselves back up on the horse. Or, sorry, I know Zesh will be watching. Back in the driver's seat.
See you later, Nats. He's just been wallbanged at the very end of the round. And you spoke of Zesh, I'll speak of Lothar. I know that's one of his favorite turns of phrase. He wasn't here to shout it, unfortunately, but yeah, that's a big kill, making things more costly. Especially, again, we go back to the way that Gambit have been winning these rounds. They don't have a massive amount of cash. Now, there's going to be enough credits that they can actually purchase back into this one. But you then even look at the ultimates, and at least the valuable ones are all starting to come online for Liquid. In fact, every single one, except the Showstopper, is only one away. So this could be a pretty big round, a pretty big turnaround as well, considering the way that the last 5 rounds have gone.
Now the question is for Team Liquid, you know, obviously they find that previous round, but is it repeatable? At least the way they won the previous, you would imagine so. But now Gambit go back towards what has worked for them so many times, moving towards this A site. Scream is again in the corner where he was dropped and gave a rifle over to them. But this time he has the dash, and that's the very important part of this. He has an escape and doesn't need to take a 1v3 or 1v4 fight after the initial. In fact, he might not have an option to take any fights. Up goes the Cosmic Divide, and they're rushing straight in. Pulled back, though. Bungee jumping into sight is the Jet of Defo. And the trades are in. Scream coming down behind them on the ramp. Yampy still on sight, now able to get right out of there with the Shrouded Step, just about surviving. Gambit taking heavy casualties on the way in, but they do end up with a plant.
Yeah, this is where they've been most dangerous. These after plant positions is where Liquid have struggled getting back into the site. That nade is so strong, though. It's going to clear the back, and it's left all onto Shados. It would need to be the craziest clutch so far, and although he's managed the first, the other 2 players looking to come around the corner, can't quite connect, running out of bullets in the clip as well. He'd need some instant headshots here, and Scream will not allow it. A big round from him, a 5th on the board for Liquid, and now even money again is going to be the problem for Gambit.
You know, Tom, I hate to say it. I really hate to be that guy, but in that corner, if he has an Odin, he wins. I'm kidding. We're at 5-5. We're tied up, and Team Liquid have finally found a solution to the problem. Gotta say, right now, Yampy is really selling me on this Omen operator. I mean, I can feel some upcomer articles coming out already. I mean, they've got to be mauling watching that. Not only the Omen, but opping and making it work. And you love to see it.
Oh yeah, clearly it's the best agent for Operator to play. Definitely not Jet. Definitely not the case.
We started with Raze, we went to Jet, and now the new meta defined by Yampy. Oh, Defo's already in, but they're ready. Link is primed and waiting to take that kill. And as he goes back towards the site, Cryptix is just using his util, his trap wire, and his cage to completely ruin their day. I think even a camera tag going in. Good night and sweet dreams to Chronicle. He's being rushed down, and despite the first going his way, I mean, he is against the entirety of Team Liquid. Not an easy fight to win, as 6 comes on the board for Team Liquid at long last. They are back in the lead.
Last round.
Yeah, that was a solid hold and a solid read. Not only having the Cypher utility, but also Sage. It just that was impossible to get through. Like, you needed a miracle to be able to find those opening picks, and they had all the counter utility ready. And again, I'll always sing the praises of Link when needed. I think he's one of those players who's just so good at a sight hold because he's very, very difficult to kill. Like why he works so well on the lurk as well. It's like he always seems to find the right timing, the right angles to get through, and it's just frustrating to play against. Now GAMBIT, they invested a bit into the last round, but ultimately this is where the investment comes through. Now 6 rounds on the attack really isn't too bad for them. We've seen some better score lines, at least recently. Well, for Defo, got that Blade Storm online. They also have the Seekers and a Viper's Pit potentially to put into this round, but there are some pretty good ults on the other side too, Mitch.
Things are looking up for sure over in the Team Liquid camp, but can they deal with this sort of stuff when you've got Chronicle having that Viper's Pit to play onto a site? It's just getting there that's really going to be the issue. And for now, at least, they're favoring the A site where there are a lot of players regrouped up, and the broken trap wires probably going to confirm that it sticks that way. One Seeker on its way towards the B site, but of course there are 2 players here. Yampi playing a little bit too far away to be tagged up by that deep flash. Oh, they're committing to this fully, and Solkis knows it. The read at the right time, and sure, he's not going to kill anyone with it, but it's doing its job. It stopped the push completely. He's going to just fire it down mid, and if that actually went down, it would have killed him. It would have gotten Nats in the corner, so he is incredibly unlucky that he clipped the edge of the wall. But it's bought time for Screen to rotate in and take a nasty double. GAMBIT of 10 seconds to get to the site, and it's all onto Chronicle. He can't even get to the spike on time. The half's already over, and Team Liquid have claimed a 7-5. The question is, can Chronicle pad the stats? And no, he can't.
Oh, sick round from Liquid. And as said, like, I think that the way that Liquid are able to delay so much with utility that I don't think is necessarily there, it's impressive. Like, Solkis has done really well with the timing of his nades, his blast packs, and even the ultimate in this round. As you said, it was utilized even without getting a kill. Just making sure that they have to go down to the last few seconds on the clock, making sure that for that, you then had Scream in position to just do some extra damage. That's a really well played round by Liquid. And GAMBIT, hey, if you're looking at clutch statistics, they are winning this game by a long shot, but they are still a couple of rounds behind.
Yeah, I think they've gotten the bare minimum done realistically. Like, they're hitting their 5 rounds, even if they had the 4 maybe. But the fact that this is GAMBIT, it's a little bit worrying, honestly, because the lead that they managed to find early on, exploiting all those weaknesses, it feels like the rounds that they found were because Liquid made big mistakes as opposed to them finding a lot of innovative attack rounds. And now that then puts them in a position where, you know, realistically, if Liquid have sort of gathered themselves and they now start out on the attack, do GAMBIT have what it takes to stop them at this stage?
I will say, when it comes to watching GAMBIT play, I've always been more interested, I guess is the word, in the defensive side. I think that they have a lot of ratty setups. I think they're very difficult to break down. And I think this is where we should see the strength of this roster. But I also think that, again, the double duelist that's been thrown in for Liquid might even be for this exact reason. Like, we're going to try and use those individuals to get us those openings and win us rounds that we shouldn't necessarily be able to do. And they're already looking to take quite a bit of control in mid, and actually Yumpy's the one leading the charge.
Snakebite down's gonna slow them a little bit. Chronicle even able to pick up one who's taking double damage, but Chronicle gets rushed on right afterwards. This is a little bit scary now for GAMBIT, losing out their Viper and a lot of their mid control. They quickly rally, but Yampy somehow is watching that smoke as they come on through the flank though. Nats early up behind, and well, look at this. He's able to take the double as Defo sprays away. That's just gorgeous. I mean, Nats actually basically stole that first kill up top, because you had Defo coming in on the flank and he shot, but the guy was already dead.
Hey, this is, as said, like, we've already seen him. Like, I think most of his kills came from clutches. Now you get to see him on his better side, if anything. I think Shados, like, he got kind of owned there by the fact that the paint shell went in behind, so he had to push through, take a risk. But this is what I mean about the setups. Like, I not even necessarily the positioning of all of the utility. That's always nice. But it's the fact that I feel like Nats is just one of the best players in the world at the timing of his utility. Like, when he uses the cages, when he isolates the different players. Because if that cage is too early or too late, he gets pushed from both sides and he doesn't stand a chance.
Exactly. Nats is a very scary player to play against. And look at how they're approaching this round. They're changing it up massively. Nats is supporting in towards mid this time as they crunch down with the Spectres. And these players attempting to seize control. I mean, where did Liquid go from here? The spike still in their possession easily, but there doesn't really seem to be any opportunity for them to find kills. I mean, towards the A site, you've got Astra Stars to contend with, and obviously Jet up top watching from afar. B is a bunch of Cypher utility that you have to fight through, plus Shados being there with the flashes. There's no easy way in.
Well, yeah, that's basically the opposite of these two compositions, is that I would almost say that GAMBIT have so much utility, like too much. Like, they've got so much stuff that they can put down throughout the rounds that I feel like Liquid are either going to have to run through some of it in later rounds, or they're going to end up like this, where it's like 20, 30 seconds up on the clock when they're trying to go for an execution. And that's always difficult to make anything work. And especially in this round where they don't have much to play with. Really solid round from GAMBIT. Not a single player lost. Most of them not even losing any shields either, so they won't have to go for much of a reinvestment at all. And this is going to be as pure a bonus round as you'll see.
What we were saying earlier, right, starting out this half, the question, looking at how the rounds were won by GAMBIT in particular, I mean, honestly, they didn't quite look like themselves. They with those clutches that, as you said, often came into those 1v1s, we could easily be looking at Team Liquid up on 11 rounds at this stage.
Round. That's the way to put it. They didn't win a single clean round in their attack, which is, well, you're not going to be happy with that, but if you win 5 rounds on the attack and you're a team that's known for their defensive sides, they're probably not going to be too worried about it. I just think that in other maps, in other series maybe in the future, you don't win all of those clutches, and then maybe you're in a much worse spot.
What can Nat see with that cam that I'm missing? Because they have a player watching Heaven, they have a player watching main, but he's sat in his cam right now. Just sat outside B main. I mean, that is a big risk. And okay, so we can just about see around the corner. So it does kind of pay off to get that early information and then allow Shados to instantly flash. Still, I feel like there's a moment in that. There's a good timing for Team Liquid. If they just swing, they kill 2, but hey, it sort of pays off. They end up with deep B control after the flash, realize that no one's there, start to rotate around to the A site, where now there's a 4-man stack.
It's a fake.
It looks like Liquid are exactly. They're faking it out. They're looking to go towards this B site where Nats currently resides. He's able to isolate one is Cage, providing perfect cover as he repositions towards the site, but Solkis will catch him. Buying enough time though, as his teammates are now just outside of B, but the wall stops them completely.
Spike planted.
That wall was so important. It might seem like nothing because it took them literal seconds to break it, but they were about to pop flash out and deny the plant if that wall didn't go up. Now, we're going to see the concuss of at least one of the players, but Chronicle's going to get caught out. Bear in mind, this is a bonus round still, so any damage is going to be valuable, but Soulcast, he might get more value himself. He's looking to get a showstopper maybe in this round alone. Already up to 4 kills, and Defo left with, well, very little. The Marshal's not going to be too useful here, and if anything, he might just want to die. Like, the value of holding on to this is not going to be worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Dive onto that spike. There's no time left to get the defuse. So there he goes. Just getting that extra little bit of cash up for the next round. Now at 8-7, Team Liquid have got a comfy full buy, but the thing I want to look at more so is the fact that Solkis is now just 1 away from his ultimate. Not showstopper. I mean, in terms of getting kills, it might not have necessarily been huge in the previous half, but it definitely had its impact. This time around, though, on the attack, I imagine it's going to be much more aggressive. It's going to be looking for a body count.
Yeah, I would be surprised if this early round is not just battling for an orb. I think that's exactly what they're going to be doing. Just go straight in, try and find something. And there's actually a star on top of it, so they've got to be very careful. I think this is something that, well, if I can read into it, I can almost guarantee that Redgar can read into it. And he is watching and waiting, trying to make this a little bit more awkward, but Soulcast has got away with it anyway.
Fire in the hole!
And here it comes, but the pull is there and the kill! Although Solkis gets it from the grave, Scream is down as well, sprayed through the smoke. Nuts able for a double, leaving Yampi all alone. A 1 versus 4, and it's not likely to work out. He has to hit some incredible shots if he's going to be getting away with this one. And already you've seen a player sneak into the back corner. Maybe he seems ready for this, and no one else is there to really support Nats. They're looking at the other angles. It doesn't matter. This dude doesn't care. He's able to take it triple.
His face. I honestly think he could pull off the best ace you've ever seen, like a 1 versus 5 where he's got his eyes closed and he's only using like a classic, and he'd still just be like, yeah, no, that's cool. All right, next round, lads. Come on, let's keep going. Like, it's unbelievable.
That was such good value.
One enemy remaining.
Such good value. And to a certain extent, you almost wonder, you know, that first star that was put down slightly deeper, I was imagining that what was going to happen was that you'd have a gravitational well, and then you would follow it up with a smoke so you can actually peek and spray through without their teammates that aren't caught by the well being able to fire back. But instead, he uses a smoke first, which is essentially conceding that ult orb. Obviously, he can spray through, but he's using a Vandal, so even then, it's going to give an opportunity for them to spray back. And then the fact that the well is used instantly, it almost seems like to a certain extent they planned that. Maybe it wasn't necessarily for that ultimate. Perhaps it was to stop Scream from dashing out and finding so much space, or a bunch of other things. But it seemed like on some level that was the exact intention from the start of the round, and it worked out. Liquid playing into the palm of their hand.
That goes there.
Yeah, well, intelligent play from Redgar, whatever the plan was initially, because he finds 2 kills versus Scream and an ultimate. Like, you're going to take that all day long, and now you look at the purchase that's coming in. There is actually going to be a hero rifle invested here for Scream. Again, this is the same scenario where he gets 1 kill and dies, or gets an ult orb and dies, and it doesn't matter anymore. He's going to have the Blade Storm, so this hero is absolutely fine. It's not really risking anything at all. Now, after getting that, they're going to break a little bit of utility, but all 5 players are now in B main. I feel like they almost have to push because of the amount of map control they've currently given up.
This is such a high percentage play as well. If Scream gets a kill, he's going to be able to drop that weapon over to a teammate and play Blade Storm if they can just find that entry into sight. But again, the Astra utility comes in to slow them down. The wall already used, but it's also very close to breaking. Defo holding this with an operator, doesn't have his dash to play with, so he'll just be backing out immediately after the first, and Nats gets caught. This is where they might consider a fuller investment, and Link has taken Shados. This is ridiculous. Team Liquid now having control of the site. And indeed, that Blade Storm's still online. We're waiting to see if it gets popped up. Oh, Yambi really not having a good time coming up on the flank. As he gets taken down, the numbers equalize, and a big play is needed by presumably Cryptics or Scream with those rifles.
Already the utility's going to start falling in to try and clear out some of these angles, try and deny some of the peaks and give them some space back into the site. It's the peak from Scream, though. You wanted a big play. Well, both players get kills almost instantly, and Scream will close out the round. Didn't even need the Blade Storm in the end. The hero rifle was enough.
Things are definitely heating up here for Team Liquid with just 2 rifles, and yeah, not even dropping the rifle to play the Blade Storm. I love that as well, because he's gonna have it for this round. Exactly. He'll just handle the round all by himself. It doesn't matter. Drop? Did you say drop? What's that? You mean drape? I don't.
Oh, God.
Oh wow. 9-8. The lead for Liquid. It started out well on this map with a 3-1 lead, and then GAMBIT seemed to be running away with it, but we're in a back and forth nature here. Trying to destroy that cam. He's eventually gotten it at least. And, you know, although you're hearing that Sheriff spray away from Redgar, just look at what GAMBIT are working with aside from that. It might almost lull Liquid into a false sense of security.
Yeah, I think looking over at the finance of their opponent at the beginning of the round, they could probably guess that there would be some sort of investment. Like, it wasn't too bad a spot. They have themselves the Seekers as well. Like, there's a lot of value that they can get out of this round, and it's an important one at that. Especially for Liquid, I would say, because things have been a little bit tight so far. The defensive holds from GAMBIT have been good. Their utility usage has made things very awkward. And well, the information they're actually going to garner here is not actually that fantastic. Like, they know that there's a lean towards the A site. They also know that there's some players in mid, which basically means as of right now, Liquid can go wherever they want.
They
see nothing inside of heaven. As they start to move forward, there's a trap wire spotted, but it's Defo catching Link. That no fake is going to be sold this time around. Still plenty of presence towards this A site. As Liquid look to push in, they have to contend with Nats on the backside, and that's always going to be a problem, but well, how is he even up that high? Scream jumping from the top rope, managing to damage him up, and Cryptic's finishing off. Here we go. An even 4v4 retake. Gambit were winning these every time over on the attack on this A site. But now it's Team Liquid's turn.
They've managed to spread the wealth a little bit with some of the weapons that they currently have, clearing the backlines, making sure that there isn't going to be anyone coming in on the flank, and there isn't. They're all locked into the site, which could make things a little bit more difficult for them. The close flashes will find one, but actually it's the kill from Yumpy, already shutting out Redgar. Now, I believe he was the man without a gun. The remaining players may just look to save, or they may look to hold Liquid into the site, make this a costly one at least, as Liquid start to increase their lead that little bit more. But actually, 3 of the players are going to escape.
And they're getting out with the weapons. I mean, with one of them being Shados on a Spectre, not able to retrieve his teammate's rifle, it's not the best, but desperate times.
And now they're going to take attack. I think it's a good spot to do it, because this is one of those situations where financially you're in a weird spot. It seems like they're actually going to invest into this one, and it means the majority of what they're going to have is weaker weaponry now. Their lost bonus of credits is going to be building up after Liquid get a couple of rounds in a row, but even still, the likelihood is if they invest into this one, which they kind of have to based on the rest of their teammates, they're not going to have a buy in the next. It'll be mostly pistols, and then you're looking at Liquid potentially getting to 12 rounds, and Gambit, what I believe is currently their map choice, potentially slipping away. So this is a horrible round, really, for Gambit, because it's one that they don't have the best weaponry and they have to win. And then on the other side, considering we've seen these investments, Liquid have done well. So they've been able to build up a little bit of extra cash with the hero win. And now you look at the finances and they're in a very good spot.
Yeah, they're definitely sitting pretty. Is Redgar going to actually play with a Bucky?
Let's wait the 8 seconds and see. until he has the option to sell it, I'm not going to say a word, but it seems like he's actually going to stick with it. So
oh my.
I'm intrigued to see how this one will work. Playing it at mid
me
as well.
too. Here. It is altogether a strange setup. Viper's Pit used on B mid, being held by a Bucky. For a moment there, Team Liquid didn't seem to be too deterred by that pit, but they have started to rotate back around to move towards A main. Grouping up there as a 5. It looks like a heavier push. Shados not able to get the information. Checks the left corner instead of the right, which would have given him a lot of information. Of course, no way for him to know that. So they hold. And the problem here as well is that your first rotate in is going to be Redgar with the Bucky. So these players on site pretty much can't die. He can help hold heaven, but he's not going to be able to retake.
Slowed down at least by the cages, but this is a fast push, and that's, is he going to be ready for it? He will. Snaps back in time. He basically needs to be a hero for them once again, but this is what this man seems to do best. Already finding 2 kills on the site. His 3rd comes up as well. They just can't deal with this Cypher. 4 kills. He was alone for the majority, and Shados is there to close it. But can anyone stop this man? Still no reaction, by the way.
He can play every part of the map. That's the worst part. It's not like, oh, Nats is A, go B. No, you don't know. He could be anywhere. He's had his cams, his trap wires all across the map, and on that backside, this is his comfort ground. The A side, I don't know what it is, but he can clutch out here. He can stop pushes by himself. He's so fun to watch.
30 seconds left.
Can you imagine how much different this game would look if Nats, obviously he wouldn't have his utility, but if his ulti was something like a showstopper, ooh,
we'd be...
amount of kills this guy's getting.
The other thing as well is, if he hadn't won all of these clutches, we would be with the desk right now.
We would, yeah, very true. Liquid would have won the game 100%.
There's no doubt, but he's given that lifeline. As said, that round was so crucial. Defo has been having a bit of a rough time, and it's not looking like it's going to get any better. And this time, they have isolated the players on this A site. Nat's still standing, but he will fall. And now it's on to Shadows. 1 versus 4. I'm not going to hold my breath on this one, Mitch, because I'm not believing in this clutch.
Yeah, I think Liquid made the right choice in committing the res in this situation. It just guarantees that Shados isn't really going to go for it. Poking to try and find a player exiting is pretty much his best scenario. So saving this weapon. Whoop. He's actually getting a little bit close. I mean, that's a judge on the other side. Oh, he's 2 HP. He gets out of there with 2 health. Well, that was almost the freest upgrade of Yampi's life. That said, he found one behind him, which...
He's gonna walk into Link.
Oh, he's shift walking. He's got his weapon out. It seems like Shados is ready. There's no way he checks this right corner, surely.
Does he go that far, though?
He doesn't need to.
I actually can't believe he got away with a gun. That's probably the biggest surprise of this round, but...
There was a moment when he first saw the judge that for about a millisecond, he tapped S. And that, well, I presume that's the bind he's using. And so he stepped back just a tiny bit. I don't think he even stepped. He shuffled a tiny bit backwards. If he didn't do that, he was dead. Yeah. I mean, like 1 millimeter closer, you are gone. That is incredibly lucky.
Again, we're in a situation for Gambit. That's been the main issue for them in this defensive half, is it's been so back and forth. Liquid have managed to win rounds with not the best of purchases. And so financially throughout, they've just been in the bin. Like, they've not... I don't think they've actually had a fall buy in about 5 or 6 rounds, which is just ridiculous. Like, it's been so back and forth that they've always had a Spectre or they've always had a pistol. There's not been a round where everybody can purchase. Now, luckily for them here, they do have a Blade Storm. And that could be the difference maker. Because we could see at least a few rifles coming in for the remaining players. Sure, you're still going to have... not the greatest of purchases, but it will be enough that they could, in theory, win the round. Whereas without it, I wouldn't be gambling on them at least.
This goes here.
Yeah, it would.
That goes there.
It'd be a pretty big gambit.
That was the joke you went for.
Yeah.
Are you proud?
Are you annoyed?
Not really. I'm just asking if you're proud.
You sound annoyed. You sound kind of annoyed, so I'm proud. Like a defo popping those blades right away. Not gonna be able to spam this, but that cloudburst about to disappear, and from his angle, Scream stands up. You can see him. Oh, they are just so close. Yampi's dropped towards A. That was a big fake, big posturing. And here's Defo's chance, but Scream shuts him down right away. The dash in negates that gravity well. The rest of the team slowed up, but just for a second, as the easy control over the side and plant comes into play. Team Liquid, man advantage extends even further with Scream, but Chronicle, Bulldog in, I mean, a Bulldog Judge retake. It doesn't really get much worse than this.
Yeah, I'll be a bit upset if they win. I won't lie. There's a part of me that wants to see this team succeed, but there's a part of me that wants to see them completely fail with this purchase, because it shouldn't work. Actually, Chronicle's upgraded, so that's at least something. The Judge... Oh, he's gone over the top! He's jumped, he's basically Goomba stomped Scream. Unfortunately, that doesn't do any damage, so it is going to be a 12th for Liquid. And again, their change of pace to just avoid a lot of this utility. I also think that... from what I've seen over the last couple of times that Gambit have played, this is not Defo's map. Like, he has been struggling. Like, every single aggressive play, which is basically the point of having the jet, like, play aggressive, have some opportunities to get out of there, like we saw from Scream on the previous half. It just hasn't worked. Like, he's been caught almost every time. And in fact, it's been Scream who's been catching him out in the majority of cases. So, I think he could have been the difference maker. Unfortunately, in this map, it looks like it's gone the other way.
Yeah, Bulldog and Judge remain this time around. The Gambit have bought him back up, and they're playing with Spectres as well. We see that same setup from before. And the more I look at this, the more I see, like, that camera has such a wide angle that I think it would just, they've obviously tested it is the other
Yeah.
thing. It probably gives them exactly the right timing to pop this
It is
flash. Let's
scary,
see
though.
if Team Liquid can punish it. There's the flash, the peek, and at least one kill. Nats quickly able to trade. This is perfect on a round like this, but as Nats falls, the B site is now wide open for the taking. In fact, Defo can't even do anything to stop them because he's got a judge. So although he was in heaven, he's not on the B site. He's not holding the B site at all. Still, Liquid are rotating. They're making their way towards this A site. And if... and that smoke. That smoke tells Defo there's probably people coming his way. So he's going to stay. He's not going to rotate to the A site. So that judge and the Bulldog kept over there. Redgar has to go nuclear for them to have a chance of remaining in this map.
Yeah, even once they like push through here, it's going to take such a long time for the remaining couple of players to
30
actually make
seconds
that
left.
rotation. So only now will he have known absolutely anything. But well, they just try and run past him. Now he can try and just buy a little bit of time. A second kill would be huge, and he's actually going to get it. That's a spike down. In fact, you spoke of nuclear. Well, I think Redgar's even undown that.
That is incredible. With a Spectre in hand and trapped in a corner as well. We saw even Scream there to start out this map, and he got destroyed. And that was versus worse weapons when he had a Vandal. Woo.
30 seconds left.
I will say this. Redgar's long-range Spectre play, and we saw it on the attack side as well when they went up through Heaven, and that long-range kill that he found, I can't remember who it was onto. His Spectre is so good. Like that last kill there, that wasn't even typical Redgar. You remember, like we've seen him before, just get those triple dinks out right away. And a lot of pressure being applied by Liquid in the early round, and Solkus is very successful.
Yeah, they've really been liking these paranoia, like, blast pack combos. Like, they've even thrown it in a couple of times just to try and bait people into rotating a little bit. But right now, that kill is everything. Like, they've pulled one of the players that has a lot of the utility available. They've also forced a rotation already. Now, sure, there is a camera available for Nats and an aggressive position from Defo. But as said, Defo, he's been a bit of an underperformer so far in this map. So to leave him as a solo hold is a scary concept. And well, it seems like at the moment Gambit is still talking through how they're actually going to play this one. It's going to be Nats that eventually falls back, and well, that might be the right call because it does look like Liquid are going to try and pressure that B site.
Man advantage, showstopper. I mean, everything is going their way right now. We know about this showstopper play to entry B. It has caused some problems in the past. This time up against the operator, Defo, who collapsed them right away. Down and out. Liquid now lose the man advantage.
They
and
know.
they've got 25 seconds to make a push onto the side.
He's still
Link coming
attacking.
alone through main. Yampi gets spotted, and he's not even going to get the first. At this point, Link basically can't get it. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's where you punch your
10
desk.
seconds
Yeah,
left.
right, his camera's here, it's here, it's here, it pops, tags you, and then you break it. It's like, well, what's the point? You might as well have had your back to it at that stage. Oh, that's infuriating. And yeah, as I said, Defo's been quiet. That is a big turnaround. Yeah, sure, there's a little bit of luck with the players lining up. His positioning, his ability to get out of there. Those are the sort of plays that Gambit have been waiting for all the way through. And now at crunch time, 12 to 11. Wow, it's pressure, under pressure. Can we see Gambit take this one to OT? Their map choice, look to try and bring this one back into
30
their favor
seconds
and
left.
put the pressure onto Liquid, because although sure, Liquid are one of those teams that, well, actually both of them are already teams confirmed for the last chance qualifier. They have the opportunity to qualify straight through to champions if they manage to get out and go to Berlin. And also, both of these teams want to compete in Berlin. Let's not take away that fact as well. It may seem like this whole year has been building up to champions, but to miss out on LAN events when there's been so few, I don't think there's any team that wants to be doing that.
Oh, the Boombot's going to give away the operator position. They're looking again to push out to this B side. The showstopper used up in heaven. It's a jet that he's chasing after. Not going to be an easy kill by any means. The updraft he keeps alive, but Defo can't get the shot off in time. Operator for Solkus, 5v3. This is the round that Gambit needed to try and fight back in overtime, and it's going to be an uphill battle getting onto this site.
Needs to be, again, one of those clutch rounds. They pulled off many, and this man was at the heart of most of them, if not all of them. But this will be the toughest one yet. A 3 versus 5 retake, pushing into the B side. So many angles being held. Soulcast already getting one. Nats, Shados though, they managed to find 2 back. Now the paint show is going to do a little bit of extra damage. Nats will just about survive. And now it's all onto Shados, but he gets nothing done. Liquid will close out Split and take themselves an